All facts coming back at you again, and we gonna give you the facts. Today we're gonna go into the JBA. What went right, what went wrong, what happened, what could have happened, and what could happen in the future. All right, let's go. So we all know the Junior Basketball Association, or JBA, was a cool idea that gave a lot of guys hope, but it didn't turn out ideal for them. I mean, it had some ups, it had some downs. And, you know, success is measured different by different people. But if you measure it by money, which a lot of people do when it comes to business, then the JBA wasn't extremely successful. You know, a lot of the games looked kind of sloppy at times. You know, there were some good games, but some did look sloppy. They were not on national TV, and, you know, they weren't given any attention by ESPN or big media. A few players did get overseas contracts, but it wasn't like there was tons of NBA scouts at the game. And, you know, the players, they did well, but the ones that did well were treated like chumps, because the mainstream opinion was like, if you get 35 points in the JBA game, that's like getting 4 points in the NCAA game. So they didn't care if you had good stats in the JBA. You know, people criticized the league because they said Lavar only created it for his two sons to get exposure, and he didn't care about the other players. And, you know, Allen wasn't paying some of the players. So a lot happened. But I want to look at how they built the league piece by piece and talk about what they could have done and probably should have done and still could do, you know, to make the league successful. But with Allen in charge, it's not surprising that some of the things were just mishandled. So first off, in order to have a league, you need teams. So let's get into what their recruiting process was and what it could have been. Around the time when the JBA was coming out, we started getting reports that top high school recruits were getting Instagram DMs and being invited to the JBA. And, you know, they probably did some more things, you know, but what would have been more successful to draw great players would have been for Lavar Ball himself to show up at their house, at their school, whatever, shake their hands, be friendly with them, and, you know, give them a vision of how great it would be. Not just send a message over the internet. That's just so distant. They get messages all the time. It's just so distant. If Lavar Ball shows up, that's a whole nother dynamic. Everybody knows that recruiting process is, you know, just watch shows, even movies, they'll show you like with football, you know, that person goes and recruits them. Anyway, I don't know if they did with some of them and didn't do with others, but it was just mostly publicized that they were just messaging people. But how great would it be for Lavar Ball to show up and just like really shake their hand, what up, man, and give them a vision. Their parents, you know, how great it would be. Which leads me to my next point. Like, to tell them of how great the league would be, they would need a good JBA pitch. You know, talk about the incentives, talk about the team structures, how, you know, they could, how would Lonzo put all their cards on the table and get someone to commit to the league. And here's how they could have done it and not just message people. So let's say Lavar Ball calls you or your parents and request a meeting. And then Zoe comes early to your school. All your friends see him dapping you up, the Triple B Prince. All the kids getting hyped. And then Lonzo goes to your house. He sits down with the mom and dad. And he says, look, your son is talented, and we would like to offer him an opportunity to play professional basketball and lead a franchise as well. And then the mother says, like, well, he needs an education. We all know that's what they're going to say. And Lonzo could just look her dead in the eyes and say, I agree 100%. 100% with you. He needs an education. And with the money your son will earn in our league, it will never disqualify him from getting an education. But if your son goes to college and doesn't make it as one of the 1% of players that make it to the NBA from college, you'll never get this chance again. So you could go to college after we give you this money. But after you go to college and it don't turn out, the JBA is over, you won't get this chance anymore. You won't get this money. If your son comes to play with us, we can guarantee him $300,000. Plus, we have mandatory money management classes, investment classes that come along with it. And you, even as a parent, are welcome in those classes. Look, ma'am, your son and 7 other players can be on ESPN in 2 weeks announcing that they will each lead a franchise at the biggest cities in the United States. The best case scenario in the NCAA and the JBA is that a scout sees them and drafts them into the NBA. But the worst case scenario for your son going to the NCAA is a lot worse than the JBA's worst scenario. With $300,000, your son could go to college. He could start a business and buy a little house, buy a home too. And that's a guaranteed foundation your son could keep working towards his career with if he wants to keep trying to make it to a NBA team by going the overseas route or, the D League or whatever. G League, whatever they call it now. He could keep pursuing the NBA or something else. If your son fails in college and then he goes to the G League just out of college, they're going to pay him $35,000 a year. And then when he does do that, you and your son are going to think back to this day where I offered you $300,000 to come lead your own franchise in a brand new league. And this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And we only have 8 spots for this offer. And Alonzo gonna say I got 15 more young men to talk to this week. So Mrs. Brown, think long and hard about this offer. And then look at the kid and say, man, I could see you playing with me one day. That's the kind of pitch they would need. So I believe in if the JBA could part with $2.4 million to give to 8 players that were 5-star recruits, they could put pressure on the media outlets to pick up the story, as well as cause anticipation and excitement to draw more crowds. They don't have to be Zion Williamson caliber players. They just have to be players that are good, that got attention, but they won't be crazy superstars. And then when you go about building the teams, don't mix and match the cities up. Pick people in that state to play in that state because that will draw local crowds. And don't just show the game on Facebook, show it in that city on TV as well, even if it's the local channel. And in order to fill the seats in the beginning, the prices sometimes of the seats can't be that high. And you got to let each player on the team be able to bring 100 people for free their first game. What? Yes. And to make it even bigger, Lavar has to reach out to some local celebrities that are trying to give back to their community, and go on some press runs. Let's say he went to Atlanta and he chose like Killer Mike or T.I. or David Banner, somebody who is trying to be woke or help their community, and, convince these celebrities that you're helping kids in their community get a chance. So you have an Atlanta team that everyone hears about because the celebrity draws validity. You're doing press, you're getting attention. Plus, you have one of those 5-star recruits now on your team. And so with those two things, between going to the hood and to the junior colleges, recruiting as well as having tryouts, you can bring the best players out of each state. Who wouldn't want to have a chance when there's no other way than this? Then you could do overtime or Ball is Life YouTube specials on each team so people could get to know the players and root for them. Matter of fact, you can even do a Ball Facts special. And you don't even have to pay these guys a lot. Just offer extra incentives along the way. Pay them what you've been paying the JBA players right now. It's not a lot. And then they can get more, if they do better or do something else, And so you can do the same thing you did in Atlanta, Chicago, and New York, etc. Celebrities, connect, press run, lower the tickets for the first 2 games in order to boost the sales. But now you have legit teams, a star player on each team. You got 12-man rosters. Each player is given 100 free tickets away. That's 1,200 people at the game that's coming in, plus the ticket sales. The seats will be filled. And people are silly. They only want to come if they see other people coming. No one wants to be the first people, really. So once they see all those people come, now you're going to sell out games because people win and this celebrity went. Let's all go. So you need 1 star player to build around. Get the players from that city to play on the team. And so after those first 2 games in each city, make fire commercials based on those games and release them. Release them where you can locally or whatever. And now take the ticket sales prices up a little bit. Not a lot, just take them up a little more. Do jersey sales. Keep it up. You'll be good. I almost forgot about coaching. people criticize the talent level of the players in the JBA, but really it seemed to be the coaching that needed to be criticized. From the style of play, it seemed like the coaches didn't know how to run set plays at times. I'm not sure what the selection process was for each team's coaching staff, but I think it could have been better. Maybe money was an issue. They didn't want to pay him. I'm not sure, but you don't want to skimp out on a coach. Whatever the problem was, they could have gotten better coaches. And also the game announcers, they should go through a little pre-training. If you're going to give some people opportunity that have never announced games, sit them down and let them go through a little bit of training so they can announce the game a little better. I liked when they were doing fire emojis, fire, that was kind of cool. But, I believe they could have a little bit more training. Now, if the JBA was successful, the NCAA would have been terrified. Hence why ESPN, their buddy, did their best to bash the league. Even before it started, they were bashing Lavar's league. But that Lavar mindset still had these main NCAA, NBA people shook. That's why the NBA got this little stars program in their G League. And then in the state of California, they're letting college players get paid. And that's where LaMelo was born. And he was going to go to college at first. So was LaMelo 1 year too late? What the heck? Anyway, Lavar's league, the JBA, caused waves.
So big ball athletic shoe and apparel area, and where we were with NCAA athletics, and in your home state of California, where things have started to change because of things like you were doing with junior basketball. Things have started to change because of things like you were doing with junior basketball. Do you feel like you've been able to exploit the areas that had weakness?
It definitely has, on the fact that it's something new. And anytime something that they're not used to is going to come out, it's going to create some controversy.
Right.
And I expect that.
And it could still be revived with the right attention. But I'm not sure Lavar has the time. He's too busy trying to keep his family together and the family brand. If they were united, they could branch out and do other things like this. But right now, Lavar has to use all his effort just to try to keep them together. Shoot, man, how many people wish the JBA would continue? And how many people actually watch the JBA? Comment down here. How many people would even try out for the JBA if they could? Would you suggest it to some young guys What do you guys think on my take on the JBA and how it could have been better? Do you think that if everything I said, they did everything like I said, they would still have the same result? Or do you think the league would have been better and it could have been better? Y'all let me know in the comment section. Ball facts, y'all please stay tuned. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, share these videos. We got to share all the facts that we can with these people, because there's too many haters out here. I need y'all to share these videos. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Come on, guys. Let's keep it up. Thank y'all. All right. Peace.